friends, happy Monday. It's Miss Drywa. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. So this is our final week in math in the 4th grade together. So we are going to be still working on fractions, but we're going to be doing equivalent fractions. And I know we did them last week, but this week I'm going to show you one final way to find equivalent fractions. And it's through the use of multiplication. Okay, so we've been spent a lot of time on our multiplication skills while we've been home and working from home. So this should be a little easier, but it might still be difficult because if we don't have our multiplication skills, it might be hard. But you've got this because we're going to work with easy numbers. I'm going to make this simple. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to show you different ways that we can find equivalent fractions with the use of multiplication. Now remember, friends, the reason I'm doing this is because multiplication might be easy for some friends. It's also a good way to practice our multiplication skills because we're still using multiplication, just now with fractions. Right? We want to give everyone different options on how they can complete these problems. All right, 5th grade is right around the corner. So, review. We have our numerator on top, our denominator down below, right? Down under. Again, the numerator tells us how many equal parts are being described, right? How many parts of the whole. And the denominator is telling us how many in the whole, right? Altogether, how many equal parts are there? All right, so now we have a fraction here. 1 over 3, 1 out of 3, 1/3, however you want to say it. We have a fraction though, and I want to make an equivalent fraction. Now last week we focused on number lines and drawing pictures to help us. We focused on using a fraction chart. We're going to focus on doing multiplication this week. All right, and I'm going to tell you, friends, we're going to keep it simple. When you're multiplying, do not multiply by a number that you don't know. You can multiply by 2 if that's an easy number for you, 3, 4, 5. Keep it simple, friends. This is just for practice right now, just to get us familiar with how to find equivalent fractions with multiplication. So, with that being said, I have 1 over 3. And if I want to find an equivalent fraction through multiplication, I just have to multiply. So, but the rule is, and it's very, very important, whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. And whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So if I decide I'm going to multiply 1 by 2, I'm going to keep it simple. I know my 2 times tables, right? The equal sign. I have to then also multiply 3 by the same number, so by 2. I have to. They have to be the same. I can't multiply 3 times 5 now, because then it's not going to be equivalent. But if I multiply 1 times 2 and 3 times 2, my fraction that I'm going to get is going to be the same. So I just do 1 times 2, and I remember 1 times 2. Remember, 1 times any number is that other number. So 1 times 2 is going to give me 2 as my new numerator. Because I multiplied my numerator, it stays my numerator. Then I come down here and now I have to do 3 times 2. Now remember, we've learned so many different strategies to do multiplication. We learned touch points, skip counting, equal groups. So whatever you need to do to find it, that's okay. I'm going to use our touch points. I'm going to skip count by 2 because that's an easy number for me on 3. So 2, 4, 6. And that's it, friends. Now I just found an equivalent fraction. I know that 1/3 is equivalent, right? Equivalent means equal to 2/6. Remember, with equivalent fractions, our numbers are different, but they both equal the same amount, right? The amount doesn't change. So, that's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? That's why I was so fixated on trying to get us to learn our multiplication skills, because they're just going to help us going forward. They helped us in long division. They helped us in regular division. They're helping us in equivalent fractions, right? Easy peasy. I'm going to clear my screen. We're going to do another one, right? So now I have 1 out of 5, 1/5, right? 1 over 5. Same thing. I want to multiply. Now, this time, I'm going to show you multiplying by 5, let's say. okay? So I'm going to do 1 times 5. And whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So now I'm going to do 5 times 5, right? And I'm even going to draw my line here so I remember to say the top stays on the top and the bottom stays on the bottom. So again, 1 times any number always equals that number. So 1 times 5 is going to equal 5. Easy peasy, right? Even if I was going to skip count by 5 on my 1, it would be 5. Done, right? Easy peasy, friends. Now I come to my denominator, and now I'm doing 5 times 5. So, again, we have all different ways that we could do this. We could make 5 groups and put 5 in each group and then count. We could use touch points, right? Or if you have them memorized, even better. So I'm going to use touch points, right? Because I know a lot of my friends like to use the touch points. So I'm going to skip count by 5 on my 5 dots. Ready? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's it. 1/5 is equal to 5/25. So 1 out of 5 is equivalent to 5/25. That's it. We're finding equivalent fractions through multiplication, right? It's the same thing when we were doing multiplication, friends. We were just multiplying one number by another number. We're doing that here too. It's the same exact thing, only we're doing it 2 times. Once on the numerator and once on the denominator. And that's it. And you can pick any number you want to multiply by for right now, right? Now, granted, next year when you get into 5th grade and you're doing equivalent fractions, they may tell you, find the equivalent fraction when you multiply by 5. So then you'll have to use 5. But for the sake of getting used to this, because this is completely new to us, you can use any number you want. I'm just going to ask you to use a number that you know how to multiply by. Whichever one is easiest for you. If you have trouble skip counting by 4, don't use 4 for right now. If you have trouble skip counting by 3, don't use 3 right now, right? We're going to use a number that's easy for us. Now, we can't use 1 because then we're going to get the same number. Watch, I'll show you right now. If I were to use 1, right? I said 1 times 1, and then I did 5 times 1. Right? Because whatever I do to my numerator, I have to do to my denominator. Right? So I set myself up. 1 times 1, well, we know 1 times any number is that other number, so it's going to give us 1. And 5 times 1, same thing. We know 1 times any other number is going to give us that other number, and it's going to give us 5. Now, we know they're equal because they're exactly the same. And that's not what we're looking for. No. Nope. We want to find a new fraction that's equivalent. All right, so let's see if I do the next one. Right, we have 1 out of 8 here. Again, I'm going to pick 3. So I do 1 times 3. And then I have to do 8 times 3. Because whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. Simple. 1 times any number is that same number, so 1 times 3 is going to equal 3. And then I do the same down here. I do 8 times 3. I'm going to skip count on my touch points. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, right? 21, 24. So 1 over 8 is equivalent or equal to 3 over 24. Right? We got a different fraction, but they're equal because we did the same. We multiply by the same top and bottom. All right? So, when we're doing equivalent fractions with multiplication, friends, we're just going to multiply by a number that we know, that we're comfortable with, because this is new. And I want us to be comfortable with finding equivalent fractions. So, if you like multiplying by 3, you can use 3. If you like multiplying by 5, you can use 5. If you like multiplying by 2, use 2. We're just not going to use 1, and we're not going to use 0. All right? Easy peasy right now. You've got this. I know you do. We spent so much time on our multiplication facts, and this is, again, some now more review for us, right? Great job, friends. But just remember, whatever you do to the top, have to do to the bottom. Have a great day.